alignment. So an easy way to do this is if you have a yoga belt or just a belt, or like a tie from your dressing gown, for example. You're going to just grab that and you're going to just hook that in, find your hip bone, you're going to hook that in to your trousers, so you have the end dangling down over your foot. Okay, stand this way so you can see. So it should go straight down and align up with your heel, with the back of your foot with your heel. No, if you have a forward stance, notice that it might drop forward. This is where I started. I started with it definitely facing forward, and this was actually a huge game changer for me, and it made such a difference to my back pain, my core, and to my pelvic health as well. Simply actually by just shifting the weight back, and I just kept doing that, kept remembering. So just notice, what do? Shift the weight back, and as soon as you shift the weight back, everything else is able to stack up, and everything else, all the other muscles are able to stack up and be in the position that they're meant to be. Because if, for example, if you find that you are forwards, and you might not think that you are, but if you find that you are forwards when you do this exercise, just notice and look, there's a lot of tension that's created in your toes, there's a lot of tension in the legs, all the way up your system. Your core is actually just, and your pelvic floor are just completely switched off in this position. They can't do anything. So you need to shift the weight back, everything gets stacked up, the core automatically switches on, your pelvic floor starts being able to become more mobile and be able to do its job properly. You'll also find there's more movement in your breath, in your ribs. Another thing to look at is what's happening in the ribs. So we will do some movements in the yoga classes to open up your shoulders, so that'll give you more space for breathing into the ribs. But also notice that you might have tendencies, again, another thing that I catch myself doing is to kind of lift up the hip, lift up the, oh god, I've lost the word, is to lift up the ribs. So you're kind of rib thrusting, and you kind of thrust and lift out, and that creates, I don't know if you can see this kind of, I do this as well, this, that rib thrusting creates a lot of tension back here in your body. So if you have a tendency, for example, to lean forward and rib thrust, there's a lot of tension that's created. So rather than rib thrusting and lifting up, drop the ribs. So the ribs want to be in neutral. So I know it might seem counterintuitive. You might think that if you're lifting up that you've actually got a better posture, but you don't. You're actually just creating tension in the back, and again you're switching off your core and your pelvic health. Instead, drop down, find neutral. So we're going to be talking about neutral pelvis as well. Finding neutral in your ribs is just as important as finding neutral in your stance, so that you have a good alignment. The neutral pelvis, you're thinking about your hip bones, your pubic bone. They are flat, you're not dropping forwards, you're not excessively tilting backwards. As you can see, the pubic bones ahead of the hip bones, pubic bones behind, they want to be flat. Okay. So have a go at this, have a look, see where your body is. We're going to be working with this more in the yoga classes on Thursday. They're all by donation. If you want to join in, they're online.